Okay, red light's on. I think we are good. What is happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another live Saturday Night Live with the Dizzle, and we got a
Word
special
up.
guest. Dizzle, what's going on up there with you, man?
Nothing. I've been doing some good old fashioned fun time spring cleaning, trying to
Mm,
just basically sort out my life a little bit. Um,
okay.
I realized that when my 45-gallon tote was full of fishing lures, and then I had a 30-gallon tote full of fishing lures, and then three more 30-gallon totes full of fishing lures, I need to try to figure something out.
Time for a
Um,
50-gallon tote?
Yeah. Time for one more
two,
tote so they're not so full.
255.
Yeah. I like that idea, Dizzle. So we got a special guest, and I've been trying to get some more guests on. Guests
Special.
are fun.
Good.
Yeah, we got every guest is special. I love having people on. I was telling Mike beforehand that there's 1,000 different ways to fish, right? I could have somebody on that's like, I only fish tournaments. I don't touch ponds. I don't ever bank fish. It's stupid. To all I can do is bank fish. I can't afford a boat. To man, I really spend like 90% of my time making baits. I only get to fish like 10% anymore. And I just, there's 1,000 different ways to do it, right? So, Mike, I'll let you introduce yourself, your channel, all your stuff, and your fancy budded. Holy smokes! Talk about professional looking setup. I feel ashamed.
The whole mixer board and the whole
Yeah,
nine.
dude.
Come on, man.
He's got excuses though. He's in the business. So.
I'm an audio engineer by trade, so I went to college and everything for it. So don't pay no attention to that. It's what I
Pay
did
no
for
attention,
a living for
but
many years. Yeah.
But it is
The
really
gadgets
badass.
behind the
Just
curtain.
saying.
But yeah, hi everybody. My name is Michael. I have a YouTube channel here on YouTube as well. That's why it's a YouTube channel. It's bait chucking. And pretty much make baits and starting to do like lure reviews and fishing and just an all around fun fishing channel. I was inspired, by you, Debo, and a lot of other,
Hey,
channels,
cheers.
and just throwing my hat in the ring, and I was telling Debo before the stream, I worked in the video game industry for 16 years. Recently lost my job back in March and have just been going full steam with YouTube and bringing up my own bait company and stuff full time. And so we're just all in on fishing now. So buy corporate
awesome.
life and trying to, go independent.
Yeah, and feel free to throw because you have a lure website now, right? Didn't I see not too long ago you launched the website, or was that somebody else?
That might have been someone else. I have like websites and stuff secured, but nothing's really ready to launch. I have baitchucking.com, but that's just the Teespring store to get like, merch and stuff like that. But
somebody was just saying they launched their site. I was thinking that was you for some reason. Okay. Well, so can people buy baits off you then?
Not yet.
Not
but
yet.
Soon.
Okay.
Soon. And we're probably a month or two away. I have some equipment on the way to help to start do some larger runs of baits. So pretty soon. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I do start to sell baits, just so everyone knows, I was telling my channel too on my live streams, I'm gonna do everything kind of like in drop style. So I'll be able, because I like to do the fun color. So I'll do a large batch and then I'll put them up as like a bait drop. And if you want them, you can get them. If not, they'll just stay on the site until they're gone. And I'm not gonna try and keep colors in stock because that's just an endless cycle of
Yeah, it is. So I completely understand what you're saying because I've got my crankbait painting side business that hasn't even been stocked for 7 months. That's why I tried it, man, is like just to do drops. And those people that are going to do like take orders and stuff, it has to be your full-time job.
Yeah. If there's no way I could do a full-time bait shop and do all the content creation how much time it takes not just to. It's like you can't just go fishing. It's like you got to add an extra hour to an hour and a half because you got to record everything, and then there's all the editing time, and it's a full-time job just being a content creator. And then you throw fishing or bait making on top of it, and it just is.
Well, and fishing, yeah. I mean, it's like it's a full-time job. Of fishing is like one thing in itself. Of like people don't understand. Like when you're a content creator, finding time to go out and fish is its own thing, right? You might burn a whole Saturday, day, and then you get home and you've got family stuff, so you don't even have time to edit. So then you've got your second job of editing, and then if you make baits, like that's a whole other, third job. So it's strung out.
Well, I'm fresh off the water today. That's why I have the raccoon eyes. You can probably all see the sunglasses tan line. But today was one of those days. It was great. Like I knew we had to get off the water early because I was coming to live stream tonight. So it was Eric and I were just like, okay, no cameras, no microphones. We just got to go out early and just relax and just actually fish. It was so awesome.
Dude, it feels weird to me. Like I went out, me and my dad went out with my youngest. She wanted to go out. So we had, I don't remember, a couple weeks ago or something, we had a couple hours one night. And I felt naked, like fishing without any sort of GoPro or anything on, just us out, like having fun fishing. Very weird. I felt very strange. I felt like I was cheating on something or someone somehow. I kept like looking over my shoulder, like, where's my GoPro?
Yeah.
And I could see Dizzle in the bushes, like watching me. I'm like, creeper? Weirdo?
Taking video of you. Look at this guy. He doesn't even film videos anymore.
He doesn't even do the YouTubes. Ugh. All right. Well, real quick, I want to thank everybody that's already in here. We've got 168 people watching.
Ooh, where's that thumbs up though? Does the thumbs up match the number of people?
It better. Y'all don't be getting lazy on the thumbs up. It's free. Unless you don't really like me, it's fine. Thumbs down. I don't mind that. It's like music.
Come on,
people
guys.
like me, some don't.
59,
Debo and Dizzle rule.
172.
Dave, we appreciate you, dude. And just like Scott Vermonter, all of my members out there, I cannot believe I have so many people supporting me on a monthly basis. Y'all are freaking awesome. Somebody else said, how about them Hawks? Oh yeah, how about them Hawks? They got the W, but wasn't pretty. It's gonna be an interesting year. We'll see. Hopefully they can keep working, and they tend to start slow and kind of taper and slowly climb as the year goes. Yeah, let's go Hawks, Brody says. So hopefully it's a steady improvement. It's a steady graph up. But
Are they still running that bend don't break defense?
They're still running. Actually, run defense was good. I didn't get to watch it, so I was outside all day with my pops, putting on some gazebo top thing on the back of our deck. The mall lady wanted I don't know what the hell. So I found out that I'm fat and out of shape out there working for 5 hours, and I am sore and tired as hell. So I didn't even shower or anything. I'm still all moist and soupy. Oh, if you could smell my beard right now, it's yeah, delicious.
I was doing that earlier. I took a shower before the live stream, but I was right there with you about 20 minutes ago.
little swampy. So okay, well, y'all aren't here to hear about my outside deck adventures, but tonight, fall fishing. So we're going to kind of tie a lot of this in with Mike and how we kind of do our fall fishing here in the Midwest versus out there. And sorry, where are you at, Mike?
So I'm in the beautiful West Coast. I'm out here in California, and my home fishery is the California Delta. So I'm on a tidal fishery. Delta. Yeah.
How far are you from Clear Lake? Like 2 hours?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours. I'm like in the far East Bay. I'm like as far east as you can be with still being considered part of the Bay Area. But it's nice because for me, it's just like a 45-minute drive to the Delta, and I keep my boat up there on the water, so we can just drive up, park, and hop in the boat and go. So
that would be handy. David says bait chucking makes some awesome baits.
Let's
talk about that. Let's get into it. So that's, I know, a big thing that you've been doing. So let's talk about, how did you get into making baits? What sprung the spring on that?
Well, I think like a lot of bait makers out there, I was I was watching a ton of fishing content just because I was, I'm starting to absorb everything I can about fishing, because I used to fish a long time ago back in high school, was in the fishing club and everything, and we would go tie flies at lunch and all that, and then dropped it for a few years. And then a few years back, my wife, she got that thing that's going around, so when we had to self-isolate, I just started going fishing and like picked it back up. So the last 2-3 years I've just been like absorbing as much fishing content as possible. And then I'll never forget it because I was watching a Chris Jones video, and I was on Discord playing some Call of Duty with my buddy, and I had like up on the side, and I remember my head making a side comment, and I'm just like, I'm watching this like random dude make baits on YouTube, and I don't know, I'm like somehow drawn to it. Like I can't stop watching. And like one video turned into 5, turned into like just going through Chris's whole channel. And that led me to like, yeah, like, hey, this is stuff that no one else is throwing. And like, let's get it, one mold turned into 3 molds, turned it, it's an addiction once you start getting into collecting molds and stuff. But I was getting bit. I was getting bit more on the baits that I was making myself versus the store-bought stuff, because especially the Delta's so pressured. I mean, there's 2-3 tournaments every week, midweek plus the weekends. And
gosh, I bet,
to be able to like throw something that nobody else has, I mean, you know, the fish are seeing Kitex all day long, so to be able to come in with something like a different style swim bait or a different kick, it's like, you know, we're picking up bites left and right, so it's awesome. But that was the bug. I just, you know, was watching Chris Jones, and Chris Jones, you know, led to Marling Baits, and I've seen some of your videos with Do It molds and just all the bait making videos. Yeah, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, you can completely go down the rabbit hole. Like I remember watching, I don't remember how long, it was a long time ago before I got to actually meet Marling, but you know, one of his things, I'm like, God, some of these people have so much freaking talent, you know, and now there's, you know, I've had the Cobringer, we've got, God, I can't even think of everybody right now. Sack Pig, there's, I know I'm forgetting so many people. And of course, Nick Rundle, you know, being able to go, he and Marlinger, who got me into it, just, God, I don't even know like how we met. Somehow something happened, and
well, you all you're like the Iowa contingent. You guys are all close to each other, aren't you? So I remember seeing some early videos. Like I'd be watching like one of your videos. I'm like, wait, is that Nick in the background fishing? Or I'd be watching Marling, and I'd be like, wait, that's Nick and Debo back there. Like, wait a minute, these guys must all live together, or like, you know, in the area, you know.
What are these nerds doing? Yeah, they're about 20 minutes from me. So it's, they were kind enough to kind of take me under their wing. And I always said, oh gosh, I would never get into that stuff. And one thing led to another. And, you know, obviously now working with Do It, they're nice enough to reach out to me. They're an Iowa company here. And also want to give some love to Epic Bait Molds, because they're another one that, you know, them and Do It, I think, are top of the heap for some of the coolest stuff you can find out there.
Oh, yeah.
I know you've got a bunch of the stuff from them. Jason and his wife, I forget her name, but they're as good of people as you can meet.
Jason and Amanda.
Amanda, there we go. Yep, they're as good of people as you can meet. Super nice folks. And it's really been cool watching his journey too. Like set up the shop, get one CNC machine, hell, I don't even know how many they have now. I haven't kept
They're up to like 4 machines now. Yeah.
Crazy. That dude's busting his ass working all the time. You see him all the time on the shop. So talking about that, we'll kind of bounce back and forth. Speaking of kind of all over the place tonight, folks, we will get to fall fishing, I promise. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I got some good baits for fall.
Yes. Giveaway real quick. So Mike said he would be nice enough to throw in a bag of baits. He's going to send, I don't know, whatever you want to send over. You don't have to. He said he would.
I'll send some fun stuff over.
Cool. Okay, so I'll wait and send that out. But I've also got some other cool stuff here. PNW Bass Can, if you remember them. Light does not do it justice, but it's like a black June bug on top and like a purple on the bottom. I got multiple ones of these I bought from them to support them. So I'm, giving some of these away. Awesome company. Go check them out. I think it's him and his son or 2 sons. They've also got some of the Rage Menace style and Tequila Sunrise they made for me, which are sweet. And I've kind of got some random 6 cent stuff. The whales. I've got one of the flat sides, which will be great for fall coming up here. A lipless chrome pink. I've got one of their curves, which is kind of like a wart style bait. Also one of
the Curve 55, such an awesome bait. I love that bait.
Curve 55. And then one of the Hyper Jerk 70s. Kind of like a little twitch bait. I never used it. Should have. I'm like, I got to start getting rid of some of this stuff. I'm like Dizzle. Threw in some underspins, some swim bait heads, and then once I get stuff for Mike, I'll throw that in too. So fun little giveaway, kind of a little mix of some custom made and some 6 cent stuff I just kind of went over before. So we'll do that here in about an hour. But speaking of baits, okay, so Mike, we're gonna poke you for a few questions here.
Sure.
We talked beforehand, so I already know. What's your favorite like all-time bait to throw if you could only have one?
Yeah, if I had one year-round one bait, it's going to be a little tiny 4-inch. I say I toss up between a Slick Swim, that's an Epic Bait mold, and a Kitech, because they're both very, very similar. A lot of people can't get their hands on a Slick Swim, so 4-inch Kitech Easy Shiner, that's the deal. That on a Mega Bass Okashira screwhead. You get an 1/8 ounce screw head with a 4-inch Easy Shiner. That's the deal all year round. I can keep just that one rod on the boat and catch fish 12 months out of the year.
It's kind of like this though. The Okashira that he's talking about. This is a different one. It's got like a little. It's a tiny little.
The little propeller. Yep.
Yeah, it's got a little propeller. Just gives a little bit of flash and just a tiny bit of vibration. Just something different. This is what I made.
What size did you say you used?
I used the 1/8 ounce Okashira screw head, and then. And you could put a 3-inch or a 4-inch, but either one of those Easy Shiners, it's money all day.
I feel like I've gotten a couple of packs of them, and I feel like what I have for my soft plastic to go on the back they're way too small for what I have. So I need to need to bump up the size of those, but I think they would be like a dynamite little jig head. Just not smart enough to get the right size, I guess.
Well, they only come in 1/8 ounce and 16th ounce, and for me, we have a lot of current in the Delta, so the 16th just gets. I mean, it's just too light. You know, if you're in like a marina or something where you're in slack water, like it's great. But the 1/8 ounce usually, and we'll just kind of, you know, we'll go up the top of one of the sloughs and ride the current down, and we'll just pitch it up against the bank. And eighth ounce is perfect because you just let it kind of pendulum down and sink, and as it pendulums down, it just follows the angle of the bank, you know, as it gets deeper back towards the boat, and it's awesome. You catch numbers all day.
Mike, thanks for the love, Mike. Yeah, that is a super good one. A little paddle tail like is always one of those that you throw it and it's just like, I feel like I could catch fish on this all the time. It doesn't always happen that way. I mean, I'll throw it and I don't catch stuff, but it's like one of those lures that just looks so natural. It's like, gosh,
Oh, it's just like a little minnow.
Yeah,
going through the water.
On this anytime.
Yeah.
So talking about bait making before we get into some of the fall stuff, and actually that's a perfect one because a little Kitech like that, 3.5 inches is usually what I throw. I've been throwing I forget, Easy Shiner, I think from Do It. Y'all have seen me throwing that one. 3-inch, I think it is. I want to say off the top of my head, but like a 3.5 inch around here for a finesse deal. And we're kind of in that time right now that sucks. Maybe the people north of us now are starting to feel more folly, but we're in that spot now where it's 98 degrees and then down to, it was a high of 80 today, and like, you know, kind of that weird spot. It's always like the end of August, beginning of September, that's always kind of funky, and I tend to downsize. I was looking back, Dizzle and I were talking last weekend. I looked the past 2 years. Last year we were throwing shaky heads and catching them, real finesse. It was the Z-Man one, that new Z-Man shaky head. Shake My Head, the Z-Man SMH, the one from
that's Brian Latimer's bait.
Brian Latimer. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That combo we were throwing and caught, I don't know, 15 fish or something that day. Awesome. And the year before that, it was a Ned rig on those exact days. So that's kind of the cool part about keeping a log of pictures and YouTube stuff. You can go back and look kind of each year. Now the conditions might not have been exactly the same, but always seems to be like at the end of August, beginning of September here in the Midwest is just kind of a tough time and like downsizing to a smaller topwater. Y'all saw my recent video of topwater going down to like a Super Spook Junior instead of the bigger like KVD Sexy Dog, or even like a Boyo, you know, a real small one, like a small popper, is kind of where we're at now. So that's where we're going to kind of get into gearing up for fall. A lot of that stuff is going to kind of carry over, but you can often upsize. So instead of like a little, you know, 2 or 3 inch paddle tail, you can go to that 4-inch when they're just crushing bait. You can go to that KVD Sexy Dog, one of the favorites for me late fall when they're just hammering baits. You know, that big profile, they can find it easier. But for you, Mike, what is like one of your top, or maybe even give us a couple, what are your couple like favorite molds to make from Epic?
Whip wad for sure is a huge favorite. That's a Marling Baits design. And that slays on the Delta, just destroys. There's nothing else like it. That tail just. And
that's like a Swimbait tail with like a curly tail, like curly hook on it, right?
Yeah, it's almost, you can think of it almost like a grub in a way, but instead of a circular grub body, it has more of like a diamond shape, like a fish body.
Like a Swimbait, yeah, like a Swimbait body.
Yeah, but the tail, the reason it's called a whip wad is because the tail has like large chunks of plastic on it. So like there's these bumps, and like the bumps get smaller as you go down, and that extra weight just causes like thumping behind it. And it just, I mean, you pull it through the water, and the beautiful thing is it's weedless. And so you just throw it right up in the junk, just right up in there. It doesn't matter, weeds, grass piles, whatever. And you just pull it right through, yank it through the grass. And every time you pull it through a grass, the fish just destroy. Eric kicked my butt today. He was up, what, 5-6 fish to nothing. He was throwing the whip wad, and I was still out there trying to get bit on my little 3-inch Easy
so
Shiner.
Here's the big one. I don't know how you go to different sizes. That's the big one. There's also the small 3-inch, 7.6-inch. That's the big dog.
That's the new one. Yeah, that just launched. I think you had it there. That's the smallest one. There's only 2 whip wads. So
I thought there was like a 3-inch.
No, not in the slick swim, but not the whip wad.
Oh,
yeah.
So 5.4-inch. Yeah, it's a pricey mold, but again, this is some of the cool stuff that you can You know, nobody else has it. It's something very different on the market. That's kind of the part of the fun of making your own baits.
Yeah.
That's a neat one.
It's pretty cool. It's the epic. You know, you have to keep in mind. I try and tell this to people all the time. A lot of the cost for the molds comes in machine time, right? It's
all
time on the
CNC.
machines. So when you compare like an epic bait molds compared to others, you know, it's polished and finished on all 6 sides. You know, it's labeled on the outside. You know, it's not held together with, you know, screws and stuff. And it's not here to downgrade other molds, but it's, you know, it's you get what you pay for when it comes to Epic. And you get the cool designs by Marling. And, you know, Jason used to work for SpaceX, so his machine work is
no crap.
Oh, yeah, top notch. Yeah, so
Wow.
you're getting like best of the best when it comes to, you know, tooling, programming, and that's why he can get the scales and stuff he can that nobody else can
Jesus,
get.
I didn't know
in their
that.
molds.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, so they're phenomenal molds, phenomenal. And I look at molds as an investment. You know, you buy a mold 50 years from now, you're still pumping out the same baits at the same quality. So, you know, my grandkid, you can pass these down, you know, to your kids or your grandkids, and they don't go bad. So, you know.
That is correct. Yep. Yeah, as opposed to like a silicone or the other molds that, you know, you can only use
Those
them
will degrade over time.
X amount of time, before they. Oh, somebody asked you too, did you fish? Liza said.
I do not know Greg Blanchard. I would love to meet him. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to meet Obadi Williams. He's the ambassador of the Delta, and I haven't run into him yet on the water. But no, I don't know any of those guys. The Delta's big. It's over 1,000 miles of rivers and waterway. So.
Yeah, Dizzle, you found a shiny. Did you find your precious over there, Dizzle?
No, Debo, I'm trying to get those freaking videos to download, but my desktop isn't finding the SD card, so I'm done with it. But on the other hand, I found another full external hard drive. So that's 3 full.
Dizzle. Come on, Dizzle. Nick, good to see Nick in the house. Talking about swim jig rods and stuff. I don't know. There people are talking about gear and stuff in the comments. Shan the man in here. What's up, Shan? Favorite way to fish? Electro fishing. That would be fun. Yeah, I'd be down with that. A little dipper from Reaction Innovations. Yeah, one of my favorite all-time like production baits. Absolutely. That or like a Kitech are probably like the 2 most used for me, for sure. Let's see. Okay, so let's get into some fall fishing. So this will be kind of fun comparing the Delta West Coast out here in the Midwest for us. So as we're starting to get into mid-September, one of the first things that I start to think about is, so people are talking about the thermocline. And I don't know when, I think it was Chris that said that, how many of these 50-degree nights before everything starts to turn over. And so when he's talking about that, cool water starting to mix, you know, everything's cooling off, starts to churn that water, and that's what they're talking about for that whole turnover deal. That's a good question, man. I don't know like what exactly triggers that. Shan might know. Actually, he'd probably be the guy to talk about. Shan, what triggers the exact, I'm sure it's not like a quick moment, but what does it have to have a certain number of temperature before like it's cooling down? I don't know. Maybe he can help with that. I don't know.
You also got to take into consideration the daytime temp though too. I mean, if
Correct.
if it's getting down to
Depth
50 or 60 at night, but it's still somehow silly like it is here in the Midwest and Iowa and stuff, like 100 during the day. It was, I think, like 86, 87 here today, and then last night I think it was down to, it was almost down to 40 last night here. So
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, and also how deep it is, how big of a body of water. Benedetto, anybody use a guppy head on an Easy Shiner? Absolutely. Yeah.
I was just responding to him in chat. Absolutely. Great head for the Easy Shiner. Yep.
Darter head or anything. It's kind of like the Finesse head that even something like this. This is one of the, I don't know if this is the Dirty Jigs one, like the Matt Allen, the Tactical Bassin one. I got some of these some time ago.
Those are great too.
Yeah, but another similar, kind of Finesse, small head. Finesse for us right now.
Shane just responded, said that I'm right, but I'm not quite sure what he meant after that. So at 8 o'clock, he said I was right. He said it's the John time temps. I don't know what the John time temps are. Daytime temps, I assume he was meaning to.
Yeah. We're in that weird
nighttime,
stage here too. It's like 55 at night, but like today it was 87, 88 degrees. So it's still very warm during the day. The temp, I think when I looked today, our water temps were like 74 degrees and dropping. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't fished for. I guess we fished. Dizzle and I fished last weekend, but we didn't get any temps. So it's been probably 3 weeks before I've seen water temps on a graph. Randy Sully, I completely agree. I forgot about that one. That's one that I've used the past few years a lot too. The X-Zone Swammer.
Swammer's a great bait as well.
Yeah, little 3.5 inch of that one is an awesome one.
Swim baits in general, they're just awesome. They get bit year round.
Let's see. Okay, so moving into fall, how about you out there? Do you start to switch up this time of year? When do you notice? Because I feel like mid-September to the end of September is like it's on. Like you can definitely tell a difference out here in the Midwest. A lot of the grasses will start to be dying back. Like some of the places you go to in summer, and that's kind of one of the big signs for us here is you'd have those places that were scum, 10 feet out from the bank. Now you go there, it's like, whoosh, or coming up, you're going to go there and it's like, whoosh, all that's gone. It's like, well, what the hell happened? Those cool temperatures will kill some of that off. Or some of the places where you go to and they were so grown up, it's starting to die back and push back. What are you looking for out there? What do you see out there where you're like, oh, yep, falls are happening?
Here on the West Coast?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Once it's really the water temperature, once it starts to get below 70 is usually when they start to trigger.
Yep.
And what will happen is, at least I found, now again, I'm no fish expert, but they'll right now, so we're in that weird transition. So there, a lot of people are still frogging on the delta, so they're still like up underneath those mats. Once the water starts to cool off, we have a bunch of rocks in the delta, so the fish will end up, as the water gets cooler, they'll start to position themselves on the rock levees to stay warm because the rocks will exude the heat. And that's when to click over to jerkbait season. And that's one of the baits I was going to bring up was the jerkbait, because they're chasing all the shad right now, and you really got to match the hatch, because if you're too small they won't bite, if you're too big they won't bite, but pretty soon, once they stop chasing and they start to position themselves up on the rocks, that's when Eric and I hit the rock banks with jerkbait, and then it'll be jerkbait season for us all the way through until next spring. When they don't want to chase, instead they want to catch it when it's like darting. That's how you can tell that they're starting to slow down, and then eventually they'll move deeper. So you can get them with a deep crankbait, although it's only usually about 18 feet at the deepest on the delta. But if jerkbait's not working, then we'll move to like a deep diver and try and get them off the bottom, and then worst case scenario, we'll bust out the drop shot. But that's in case of emergencies on my boat.
Yeah, that's a rough day if you got to bust out that drop shot, man. Yeah. But I'm biased. Hey, I'll throw a Ned rig all day. I love Ned rigging, but drop shot, there's something about it that just pisses me off. I don't love it. Actually, Dizzle and I, we were out fishing last weekend, and I caught all my fish on a drop shot. I will say I lost more weights than fish caught, but it was still I dedicated to it.
You lost more weight in weights than you caught in fish.
Yeah, you're right. And I was throwing 8-ounce weights, if that tells you anything. So, yeah, well played, Dizzle. What were you going to ask? Sorry, I kind of jumped in there.
I was just going to say that being in California, you're not a big swim bait guy. I figured that would have been, one of your tops as far as your lures to throw instead of, the small paddle tails.
So I don't get to go to any of the big lakes like Clear Lake or anything like that. I mean, I just shouldn't say I don't get to. We just haven't done it yet. So I haven't pulled the boat out and gone to like Berryessa or Clear Lake. And you can use the swim baits on the delta. So striper season's just coming up. A lot of the time in the beginning I didn't have a rod. So I finally, now I'm looking up at my rack. I have a nice big swim bait rod now. And I'm just starting my collection of bigger swim baits. I did a video on my channel. My first actual 2-piece custom bait was from Swamp Trout Baits. So that's actually the first big custom bait that I have. So I'm slowly starting to get into it and learn. But the thing with that is out here, at least, again, I'm no expert, but what I hear from a lot of people who do the swim baits, you got to be out there at the crack of dawn, and I mean first light, and you got to know where to be. And I don't know where the giant fish are yet. You know, these guys throwing these big
Gotcha.
swim baits, they know exactly where to go. They know where they're setting up. I mean, you know, we're lucky if Eric and I catch like a 3-pound bass, we're like jumping for joy. So, you know, everyone's out here catching, you know, 6 to 10 pounds on the regular, it feels like, and we're struggling to get 2-3 pound fish. So, you know, I haven't found the giants yet, but we're, you know, constantly in search of them. I'm not against the swim baits. I just don't know enough yet. So I'm still a noob when it comes to that.
It's all right.
Actually,
Everybody started there. Everybody started it at ground zero once.
I actually brought show and tell today, I guess, for fall stuff. I think
Yeah, go ahead. Get us into it, Hazel.
This is gonna be the fall, Debo.
Oh my. Okay.
I actually have
a
I have a S waiver typed on now to one of my rods.
Okay, so you're gonna try more of the jointed swim bait stuff this year?
Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing that I don't know is like all of these. None of these come with like a little like the little split ring dealy thingies. Do they swim better with or without those? I have no idea. Because the S waiver to me, I don't know if I was.
A lot of
reeling it
people
too
use
fast.
a stout clip, so if they don't have the split ring, they just use a really stout clip on them anyway. So I think that's probably why a lot of them don't. Matthew's in here. Any of our other, I don't know if Brennan's in here. Any of our big swim bait guys.
I'm shocked that Brennan's not. I feel a weird kind of way right now. But anyway, I noticed that my S waiver was
right there,
kind of rolling over when I was reeling it in. It could have been how fast I was reeling.
I say, were you fishing it too fast because you kind of got a slower,
slow.
Also,
slow,
what line
slow
were you
roll
using too? Line has an impact.
God, I don't even remember what line or what combo it's on. What
Somebody
should
else,
I be using, Debo?
Well, it depends. Some guys will say like 20-pound big game, like a mono. A lot of guys go straight fluorocarbon. I like something with a little bit of stretch in case you huck a do it out there and you get a little bit of windage and stoppage and snappage. I'm not a big braid to like leader guy. I personally like the copolymer. I am not a big swimbait guy, so I will let all the swimbait experts certainly weigh in here, but unless I'm going with like 80-pound, like on the musky baits, I've never had an issue going 80-pound to a leader, like on my musky stuff.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know. I'll let them jump in. Somebody else said, yeah, so Matthew, days getting shorter. That is a really big one. Water temps falling and then chasing shad. Yes. So starting to see morning, night, when you see all that bait fish getting all sorts of skirt, trying to get out the way and getting chased, and bad day to be a little fish when fall's coming on. All those are definite signs that fall fishing. And here in Iowa, dry corn is always a sign of oh damn, it's fall. Yeah, corn's all dried out. Birds are starting to migrate. That'll come a little bit later here. But all that, like, it all happens, you know, kind of in the same cyclical pattern that, like, you can almost count on. Okay, they're pulling crops out. Where are we at in, you know, October pulling stuff? Okay, we've got birds migrating. Am I throwing a jerkbait tonight? Like, and it just depends. You know, each year it's a little bit different. Each lake can be a little bit different. A lake that I fished, you know, 2 years ago could be completely different, you know, this year. So, but I would say, yeah, you kind of covered the big ones. Like a swim bait is a great one. Jerkbait for me, absolutely. As we start to get later into fall, I kind of, you know, you can still get a little bit more aggressive. Buzzbait's going to be killer here as those temps start to drop. The buzzbait bite's going to be awesome coming here. And it's not as good as the South where folks will get into that kind of late frog season. I feel like ours kind of tapers off. Maybe some of the bigger lakes and stuff around, but I feel like a buzzbait or a topwater walking bait are for sure my go-tos over frog. I kind of hang the frog up coming up here soon, but
frogs and buzzbaits go deep into September, October here for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know. We're predicting a wet winter this year on the West Coast, but through the drought and everything, I mean, yeah, you could frog all the way through till mid-October. It would still be, you know, 75, 80 degrees during the day in October. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
I've been, I've
Sorry,
been
I know
see-
you guys have to deal with snow out there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it must be nice. Oh, yeah, it's well, that's like I look back at they released the 2024 Bassmaster schedule thing. I couldn't tell you where I'm at. I was just skimming through it the other day, but I noticed it's like, oh yeah, February down in Texas where they're catching them on beds. Must be nice. Our lakes are still completely frozen over here, you know. Chris, yeah, I like your new handle. I like your new avatar there. What's the over under on the number of Jinko jeans Dizzle has owned? Oh my gosh, this guy. I remember back in college, this dude was always rocking the Jinkos.
Dude, I've never owned a single pair of Jinko jeans.
I all the time was watching. He would store his notebook in the back of his Jinko's pocket, and
See, the crazy thing is that's not
like
true
his
because
trapper
when I
keeper.
was younger, I only wore shorts regardless
You
of the
still
temperature
do.
outside.
What do you mean when I was younger?
Okay, true.
Still only wear shorts.
Not in the cold.
Let's see. Oh, I'm glad it saves these for me. Austin, I didn't even see this. Member for 8 months. Austin, thanks for being a member. Debo, do you ever think about taking the fam or Dizzle on a trip to the Great White North chasing some northern fish? No. I'll tell you, I've seen people catching lake trout and stuff. That looks fun. We don't have any of those down here that I'm aware of. Maybe. I don't know, like up on Okoboji or something, maybe. But like I see that up north. No, going up north, going up somewhere colder than here doesn't really interest me. I'll be honest, Austin. I hate cold and snow. But like when it's dog days of summer here, I would love to go up to Canada and chase some big, large northern pike. That would be a lot of fun. I could do that all day.
See, we don't have any of those cool fish out here. Like I watch, like marling's always out there catching pike or muskie. You guys have out there in Iowa. We just have it's bass or striper. You get the occasional salmon when they run through, but
Don't you guys have like sharks running up in the delta? And you have seals and stuff out there, don't you?
A ton of seals. The seals run when the stripers run. So now that striper are coming into the system, the seals are starting to pop their head up, which sucks because they just destroy all the marina fishing. But
yeah, I can imagine. They're like giant. Can you imagine, Dizzle? They're like otters on steroids.
Yeah, but they're bigger. If like.
Hence, otters on steroids. Yeah, because steroids usually make you bigger and like stronger.
Not that much bigger,
bro. You ever seen a bro on steroids?
They're
they
an
make you look
otter's
like Mickey
cousin
Mouse, bro.
from an otter's cousin from like Russia or something.
Yeah,
you will not mess with me.
They're becoming a big problem on the Delta, and it's they're protected out here, so Fish and Game and Department of Wildlife doesn't really do anything, but they're I mean, if you ask a lot of the fishermen, they're slowly destroying the fishery because there's more and more seals and they just gorge, and it sucks.
That's interesting. What do you think? Do you think it's like a habitat thing or like commercial fishing taking out like the fish they would normally? Do they say what drives them up in there? And
oh, the striper. I mean, because the stripers we get are huge. I mean, you get huge, big old double-digit stripers rolling through the system, and so they chase them when they come in the system, because they all got to run through the bay. So then the seals will chase them all the way up through the bay, but then they get up here to the Delta, and then they realize like, oh wow, check out this beautiful sunshine and the warm water, and they just hop up on docks, and you can't do anything. Like they'll hop up. You get 2 or 3 of them, they'll hop up on a dock in a marina, and then it's like, well, no one's getting to their boat until they decide to like get off the dock or whatever. And it's just you can't do nothing. You'll get huge if you get caught messing with them. It's big trouble. Big trouble out here.
Yeah,
Does it have anything to do with the Great Pacific Garbage Patch?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
This giant thing of garbage floating out in the ocean.
It's a good point.
Pretty
Maybe.
awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
But yeah, they sound like honestly just like a giant otter. I mean, I don't know. Do they kill fish just for funsies and like maybe take a small little bite and then go back and get some more, or are they like housing the entire fish?
Oh, they'll eat the whole fish. Yeah, and then they toss it around like when it's in the marina. We'll see them sometimes. It'll catch like a 6 or 7 pound bass, and it'll take it and throw it. It'll throw it up again. You can hear because it's like they're smart creatures. They'll take it, rip off a chunk, and they'll like throw it up against the wall of the boat sheds, and you just hear this bang. What's that? Oh, this seal throwing fish up against the wall to kill it. And it's like
Throwing a 6-pounder. Oh, nothing
Yeah.
to see here.
It's just- yeah. And then they just they devour the whole fish. Sometimes you'll see like a fish head or something left over, and you're like, oh, that poor carp. He just became a seal's
Well, I mean,
lunch.
that's what
Seal food.
the otters
Yeah.
out here will just like they'll kill a fish just to kill it and take a bite out of it and go find another and
Well-
just do that over and over and over again.
Otters scare me. And I know they look all cute and cuddly to a lot of people, but I'll just tell you, don't go watch videos about otters' behaviors because it'll destroy that image of a cute, cuddly creature.
Yeah, they're killers. I mean, they're predators.
vicious.
That's what they do. Hawk
I had a
fishing.
pack
Good
run up
question
on
here. Hawk. Awesome question, dude. Absolutely. Spinnerbait will be a staple here coming up for me as well. What is your number one, guys? Number one fall spinnerbait size, blade, weight, color?
I suck at spinnerbait fishing, so I can't
Oh,
answer that
okay.
question. It's
That's
just
fair.
it's not one of my confidence baits. I just take
All
a
right.
spinnerbait and throw a Kitech on the back and hope I catch something.
I'll go. So usually for me, it's a 3/8. I will say though, bank fishing, I have been throwing a 1/2 ounce more, just to get a little bit better casting distance. And with the wind, I feel like from the bank, it does a little bit better. Usually from the boat, like a 3/8, because you're kind of target casting. I'm not trying to launch this thing as far as I can from the boat. You know, you're hitting standing timber or laydowns or whatever. As we start getting into fall, I will say that as the vegetation starts dying off, any sort of good green vegetation that's still there, hard lines, fish those for sure. As the vegetation, the rest of the lake starts to die off and melt and stuff, I need those good green spots. Or Bass Geek actually just did a video on this of fishing the creeks, you know, leading into the lake. Any spot that's going to have oxygen churning, you know, coming out of now from, you know, the really hot summer temps into the turnover, still anything feeding in with consistent oxygen, or if you're in places now, like what have your water levels been out there, Mike? Have you guys been having a lot of rain, or is it droughty out there?
Well, we were in like a super drought, but we had like the mega winter this year, and it fixed the whole drought in one winter. So it kind of good and bad. It like destroyed fishing on the delta because it just flushed the entire system. But it's so this year's been a wonky year, but it's good overall because the spawn has been unbelievable. Like there's more fry in the system than anyone's ever seen. But the good news is like Berryessa and Clear Lake, they're back up to full levels, which is great.
Wow.
So the big bass factories are back up and running full tilt, which is nice. So
That's fun.
Berryessa and Clear Lake are like the two big bass factories in Northern California. So
Yep. That's what we're going to need here, because we're dry upon dry with drought and more drought and no rain in sight.
I mean,
sucks.
we've had lakes just like full on dry up, and I actually gave Debo some pretty sad news earlier this week about one of our go-to spots. It's not necessarily dealing with the drought because I think it's somewhat
Renovation.
creek
They
or
said it was
spring fed.
renovations and
Yeah, so they're gonna drain the entire thing because
draining another
they wanna
lake,
pick
one
up-
of our favorite lakes.
Oh no!
Drain
taking
it
out the
out.
silt. And man, this is a lake that I've always gone to that if I needed a confidence booster, I knew I could go out there and I could catch fish. It's just like I know there's fish out there. They may not be the biggest fish, but if I stick around long enough and I hit the spots that I know to hit, I know I'm going to pick up a decent sized fish. Earlier this spring, one of the first times Debo and I went out, I ended up catching almost 4. It was like 3.9 or 3.8 or something like that, and I gave him a hard time. I was like, "Oh, it's going to ruin my good
It's gonna
average
ruin
to
my
the start of this year."
Mm.
But yeah, I mean
Only
that
catching 5-pounders. Mm.
that's depressing to like when you hear some news like that. And somebody told me about it, and I was like, "This dude's lying. I'm gonna go double check somewhere else." And it was true.
He sent me the deets on it. It's real. Yeah, that sucks. So that'll be down for a couple years at least.
Nah,
Yeah, you're looking at
uh,
2030 before that's fishing again, realistically.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to completely drain it and kill everything off, because I don't know if it'll be the same way that they do it with, like the places they do it here. We've had, since I've been back to fishing heavy, 3 of the main lakes here that we fish have been drained out, but it's because of invasive species. So it's either shad or yellow bass.
Yellow or white? Yellow.
Yeah, yellow bass. And they completely drain it and take everything out. And DNR doesn't keep fish in there. They completely reset, restock. So I don't know. That'll be an interesting one to see if they completely take it out to redo all that and kill everything.
What
Well,
I
they don't kill it,
what
but
I was hearing was X amount of time leading up to when they're going to start the entire process was going to just be a full-on free-for-all of
that's usually what they do. Is you can keep
catch and take.
anything you catch for like the months leading up. It's take whatever you want out of there. Yeah. So that's probably what'll
Sad.
happen. And anything left, they just, I guess, let it die. I'm
Yeah,
not
what's
sure how to
left
do
is
it.
left.
Unless they
I mean,
have
there's
like
a couple.
pension ponds that they can stock or something, but
Yeah, there's a couple, but who are they going to actually go about doing that? I doubt
probably
it.
not.
You know?
Yeah, probably not. Okay, let's get back to our spinnerbait question. Fall baits and giveaway coming up here. Some custom baits, some 6 cents baits I got in the bag. Should be a pretty fun one.
3/8 ounce War Eagle.
Which one?
I like the blue herring shad. It's very similar to the sexy shad color, but it's a little bit more muted. And I feel like the colors run through it more than what the sexy shad does.
Does the river run through it?
Twice. Just twice.
It's a bad joke. Bad dad joke. Let's see. Ooh, hey, there's a 25% off special on magic worms. Anyway, sorry.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Ooh, squirrel. Let's see. Let's go over here. Let's
you had a donation.
Oh, yep, War Eagle. Okay, hold on. Gonna share this. Oh, I did. Is it Tom's? It saved Tom's here for me. So I will get to that one here in a second. I just want to share here. Okay. So I think yours is, are you throwing the Finesse one?
The 3/8.
I think the one you're talking about is or is it the double willow?
It's a double willow.
Blue herring.
Mm-hmm.
That one, or the sexy shad. Both of those are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Well, no, that's not the same one I was just looking at. It is the. I was looking at the War Eagle double willow spinnerbait. No,
That's what I just had.
Well, no, it is
the
the
not
same.
hammered
Sorry.
one.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's not. I don't have the hammered ones. I don't believe, but
this one.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's hammered too. I don't know. Anyway, that one. I mean, you can't go wrong with a white and chartreuse. You know, if it's a little bit dirtier, something like those. Those are nice because they're a little bit more muted. Like these, you can't really tell, but it's like the skirt's more of a see-through on some of these. It's a little bit more natural looking, and they've got a finesse. I forget what's the name of it, but they've got a little bit more compact. Like right here, compact style. We throw these a lot too. This little finesse look to it. I know Dizzle likes this one.
Click on the sexy shad just to show the difference between the muted of the two. They're basically the same thing, but you can see there where that gray is a lot more gray. The chartreuse comes through a whole lot more, and the blue seems like a little bit more vibrant of a blue. I like the other. What's that? The blue herring just looks a little more muted to me.
With the extended skirt like that, Dizzle, do you put a trailer on the back of it, or do you just fish it plain like that?
I usually do a stinger hook on the back of it.
Okay.
So you just I don't throw a whole lot of trailers on the back of those, just because I have a lot of those spinner baits that have the extended skirt material in there. So I'd rather throw a stinger hook back there just in case they're, short striking or just swiping at it. I have a lot better chance of hooking up.
That sexy mouse is a really good, that or just the regular mouse. Both of those are a really good kind of secret white bass crappie kind of imitator. And you can kind of see it there from the side, but it's kind of a good one. I feel like people don't talk about enough with those kind of broken line deals. So even if you don't have, people think, oh, well, if they're chasing bait fish, I have to have shad to throw a spinner bait and this type of stuff, right? Because it's imitating a little ball. And you can have white bass, you can have just a lake full of bass. When they're chasing, when they're hungry, you can still throw a spinner. Tom, no question, just a donation to celebrate my first frog fish of the year. Well, sir, I will drink that. That's going to be my last drink here, I think, too. Tom is also the Stubby Dog sponsor back here. If I can show it back there,
the Stubby Dog bed sponsor.
Yep. Tom, we appreciate you a ton for that. Stubby Dog appreciates it because he's kind of a Velcro dog. He has to be by me 24/7. So when I'm down here editing or whatever, he's usually laying right there watching us.
Mike, do you ever do like a stinger hook on your spinner baits, or you just throw a trailer on there and that's
I
what you're using?
Yeah, I have not. I've just tried, trailers. And I only know what I know from spinnerbaits from watching the tactical bassin videos. So like I have a couple Terminators and a couple, Ish Monroe Bling spinnerbaits, and I mean I've had success, throwing like a Kitech paddle tail on the back of it. But I spinnerbaits I just don't have confidence in it. I never get
Yeah.
bit on them a lot. Yeah, so I just
I would
yeah.
say try, if you have spinner baits that have like an extended skirt like that, try getting you can get like a 5-pack of stinger hooks for like the same price as a regular pack of, hooks.
I have some from the last month's six sack, so I actually have a pack of the spinnerbait or
Yeah,
whatever it
I would
was. Yeah.
there's a better chance that your hookups going to increase, obviously, if you throw a stinger on there, in my opinion anyway, but I think that could potentially boost your confidence a little bit. I would definitely
Okay.
give that a try.
Nick asked if you have those big manatee things out
Uh,
there too.
we do in the bay, but not in the delta. So like I'm not sure if a lot of people know how it works. So there's the delta is where there's a bunch of all the California kind of river systems in Northern California all come together. So all the stuff from the Sierras comes down, and then there's a portion, the delta is where all the rivers kind of come together and meet. At the bottom of the delta, where it goes out the San Joaquin River into the main channel, that's where it meets salt water. So you got all the brackish water, so you get manatees and stuff in there, but they don't really come up into the freshwater at all ever. The freshwater is pretty much just all freshwater fish. We'll get some sturgeon once in a while. They'll come through, and of course the striper when they're running. But other than that, we don't like. There's no sharks or no manatees or nothing like that up in the rivers at all. It all stays down in the bay.
Here's a good one. So, okay, so the next question, I'm going to load it here in your minds. Get it ready, marinating. What is one fall bait? I'm not going to say secret, but let's say like one fall bait that you feel like is not as well known or not as mainstream, maybe we'll say, that you catch fish on. I've got one kind of saved up in my memory bank, so I'll let you marinate on that for a second. We'll hit explore more fishing's question. Do you use the drop shot as a search bait moving, or do you throw it to specific targets? Are you much of a drop shotter, Mike? I know you said in like dire straits you pull it out.
In dire situations, yeah. Typically, I guess I'll kind of use it as a search bait. I mean, yes and no. I do throw it to targets or structure. Like I typically use a drop shot like when we're in the marina. So I'll throw it like where the pilings are that hold all the docks and stuff in, or I'll throw it near the bottom of a dock. So it's like kind of searching. But when I'm searching for it, though, I'm not just like doing like a fan pattern. I'm throwing to cover. I'm trying to get it down deep and in front of them. Right. I'm assuming they're going to be hanging out around structure. So that's kind of what I do when I end up drop shotting.
Yeah, for me here in the Midwest, so obviously the drop shot's a great one to target, those suspended bass just off the bottom. Obviously guys on the electronics and stuff are throwing to those. For me here in the Midwest, and I'll say for a lot of the bank anglers, when you get those ponds that have that scummy, slimy crap, some sort of algae, mossy, I don't know, that's maybe a few inches to 6-8 inches on the bottom, where you can't throw a jig, you can't drag a Texas rig, anything you're throwing on the bottom, it's coming back all sorts of gunked up. Ned rig, any of that stuff. That's one of the few times where I'm like, yeah, a drop shot works really well here. And there was a couple days last year, if you guys go back in my video vault, toward the end of the year, where I was throwing a drop shot, just a little straight. It was the Yum sonar minnow or whatever, just a little, minnow looking bait, and catching fish. But I am not the biggest drop shot extraordinaire. But I will say, if you're a bank angler, or the way like here in the Midwest, that is one time when it works really, really well, when you just can't throw anything that's stuck to the bottom, and you don't want to throw.
That was your benefit. That was your benefit over me last weekend for the the slower non-moving baits, is because I had a jig and you had a drop shot, and every time I threw in my jig, I felt like I was maybe getting pecked on the drop on the fall, but once it got down into all that gunk, it was done for.
Yeah, that'll be a fun video coming up. We didn't have an amazing day of catching fish. I think each of us only caught 5 maybe. in the, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours that we fished. So it was slow fishing, but it was fun because the first place we went to, I caught all the fish. Second place we went to, he caught all the fish. And it was very different conditions, very different deals, because we each brought 6 combos, and then each of us picked 3 of those 6 for the other person. So I had 6 laying out. Randy came over and picked the 3 of mine that he said I could use, and I picked the 3 of his that I said he can use. So we were stuck to those 3 for the whole day. So kind of fun, just a little bit different way of doing it. It was off of last week's live.
PSA for anybody that wants a PSA right now. If you're gonna wear like a boot or a shoe that comes up higher on your heel, make sure that you don't wear like no-show socks. I had gnarly blisters on both of my like heels, or like the Achilles area, 20 minutes into starting to fish, and then they ripped open, and I was like, oh my god, I almost called it at that point in time. But somebody with his magical clothing stockpile in the backseat of his truck came through with a pair of socks.
See,
Saved the day.
comes in handy to have extra changes of clothes in there. Gave you some sweet socks, and you were off. Those were some Dollar General specials, Dizzle. That was
They're
from
nice.
another. Yeah, that was from another adventure that we went on, and I got completely soaked. I had to stop at Dollar General and grab some new socks. Okay, so what do you guys got? Do you guys have a secret bait or a less known bait for the fall that you throw and you're like, I don't really hear a ton of people talking about it, and I seem to still catch fish on it? What do you
I'm
guys
afraid
got?
to give it away. That's the problem.
Ooh, okay, well, you don't have to.
I'm kidding.
Just tell us it's a 15-inch worm.
Yeah,
15-inch Texas rig worm.
I'm gonna go with a Strike King 3XD.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I've caught my my PB so far has been on a 3XD in the month of November, I think. So that's even pushing the fall to winter transition. And I found like deep cranking in the winter has worked great for me. So that's one thing I like to do when a lot of people are throwing A-rigs and stuff like that. If I can get it down and smack them in the head with it, they'll usually go for it.
What does that dive to?
Like 13 feet, I think,
Oh,
if I'm not
jeez.
mistaken. 12, 13 feet.
That's the
it's
smaller body
basically-
size, right? Isn't that the smaller
Yeah, it's a
one?
small one. I think it's like Strike King's version of a rock crawler or a wigglewort style bait. You know, they got the longer kind of rounded lip on it and the small profile.
Let's go to Strike King. Not Strike Pro.
No.
Same, but not the same.
Yeah, the Strike King 3XD in the orange belly craw. That is my
6X,
go-to.
10X, 5X. There we go. Yeah, so it's like the body size of the regular 6-foot diver. I forget which that one is, but it has that bigger bill on it. Yeah, 10 to 12 feet diving.
The Pro Series 3 is the smaller one that's lighter. Same body, but shorter bill. So that goes to like
It's a
7 to
6-foot
8
diver,
feet.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool one. And there's one in here that for the 6-foot divers, obviously Gizzard Shad is a good one.
Yeah, there it is.
I feel like this is another Markman. Is this another Mark Menendez MM Moongill, which is a good sleeper? Let me see if they have the old one here. Oh no, there was one that was like a white bass. Oh, there it is, Splatterback. It's the same one that's in the band. Is it Bandit?
Yeah.
Bandit 100, Bomber 100.
Yep.
I always get those two mixed up, but they have a Splatterback that, is absolute killer.
It might be Bomber. I don't know.
Look at that.
Do they have
Little
have
bear.
the Phantom Watermelon Red Craw on there, Debo?
Oh, I think I just saw. He just scrolled past.
Oh, it's right there,
That's
down
another
below.
good one. There it is. That's a great one.
Ooh,
Another
love
one of
that
my
one.
favorites. Absolutely.
Yeah, Old Strike King. They've got some good go-tos, some good standards out there. This is far and away my dad's favorite. Fire Tiger is one of his top 2 or 3 cranks that I think he could throw 24/7 and not care what the water killer is. I'll catch one on it, boy. I don't care.
And then he slaps you and makes you.
Yeah. He's like, hey, will
Sleep
you
in the
handle
bed of
those
the
cars? Get down. Okay, Dizzle, do you have one? Do you have one that you feel like is
I
known?
I honestly don't really have like a sleeper lure. I mean, I get
Jig?
really,
I
I
got
get
that
back
sweet
into like
jig.
swimming jigs, jerk baits, underspins start picking up quite a bit versus, you know, earlier in the season or earlier in the summer, I should say, underspins do well for me anyway, but they start picking up as it gets more into fall. I start picking up a crankbait more often, lipped and lipless, but those are all, basic stuff. The only other thing that I would kind of do is I know that in the past years of fishing, um, whether it's been the skirt just broke off or I've pulled the skirt off because I didn't like the color, but like a nude or a naked chatterbait with just like a big paddle tail or something on the back or a big fluke, something like that. No skirt, just the plastic trailer on there seems to do pretty decent as well.
So I'm going to say, ooh, real quick, I'll say Little Rich, back in the day, if we're talking about old day stuff, it was always a curly ribbon tail worm that me and dad threw, a spinner worm. Nowadays, I actually like a straight tail. You can throw a Kitech. I think that's one of the, the big ones. Something that doesn't have too big of a tail that's going to mess with your spinner bait. I actually like straight tail stuff like a fluke or even a hog farmer spunk shad. I haven't used that one, but that kind of that same thing. Fluke usually for me, or just the real thin. I forget whichever Kitech it is. That's the real long, skinny one. Is it the? I don't even remember. We can look here real quick. But I tend to go to that one over the big, like the Fat Impact or whatever.
It's probably the Easy Shiner.
It's not the. Is that the Slick? Oh, Slick Shiner is the one with Easy Shiner. That's the little one, right? Little bodied.
Yeah, but they sell them in 5 inches, so you can get them real long and skinny.
Yeah, I want to say 3.5 inch is what I normally throw on the back of it, and I don't run it all the way up because it doesn't matter. Even if you're throwing like a War Eagle, that's one of the things about War Eagles that sucks. Is they don't have a plastic keeper. You don't have to run it all the way up like on that. Oh, Swing Impact is the one I like. So the little Swing Impact,
regular Swing Impact, yeah.
Yeah, just a regular, like little tiny, 3.5 inch. Usually is what I throw on. You can throw a 4 inch. But it just kind of gives that extra. The thing with a spinnerbait is in the fall, usually they're going to be smacking it. Like, it's not like where they're, coming up and just kind of, oh yeah, he's got one there.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not where they're just kind of coming up and pecking at it or just kind of swiping at it. Man, they're going to hammer it. Like if they're eating a spinnerbait, I'm fishing like a foot under the water level, like a foot down. Especially if you have a little bit of ripple, it's got a ton of drawing power to it. So, fishing it by docks, timber, standing timber, laying down timber, usually they smash it. So,
Debo, are you still on Tackle Warehouse?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, if you like throwing these, I've got a great jig head for you. Sorry, I don't have autofocus on my camera, so
that's
I gotta
right.
hold it
You
way
can
back
see
here.
there, compared to his finger, they're real long and slender.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll take one out.
Not like a big, like the regular Kitech that's real fat at the front, bigger tail.
Yeah, it's real
That's
long.
Almost a
and
full
skinny.
two. That's almost a full 2 Debo fingers long.
Oh, that's a full Debo finger long for sure. See that?
The
Finesse
Jackal Rhythm Wave swim bait. If you want to pull that up on Tackle Warehouse, Debo.
What do you say?
I really like these. The tail's not quite as big. Right there. Nope, the other one. Go back.
No.
The paddle tail next to it.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, I haven't used those. I don't think. Maybe
I like the click on the second picture they got there. The actual second picture down with the 3 options. You know what I mean?
Oh, this?
Yeah. I like how the body, it's almost flat it is flat on the top, then it kind of V's down on the bottom.
It's got a keel to it. Keeled out belly.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, those are cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that goby. I like that color. Yes, sir. Okay,
like
so my thing, I'll go with mine.
But
hold
on.
Go ahead,
Before you go on yours, if you like throwing these, Debo, I just sent you a link in the private chat here to a jig head you got to check out. And I've only found it from the guys at Hook Up Tackle. It's the Raid Head Swimmer Libero. And so what you're going to want to do is take it, buy it, take the trailer that comes with it, rip it. I mean, great trailer, but you don't need it. Throw a regular Swing Impact on the back of it, and it's incredible. Absolutely
Okay.
incredible. Yeah.
I'll look that one up.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I will say for my, and it's not really a secret, but I think when people think Ned rig in the fall, like, okay, you've got really hard fall fishing where they're chasing bait, they're crushing, shad. Guess what? Not all lakes are like that. Not all lakes are going to be a crazy chase of bait fish. There's still going to be fish eating craws, right? I mean, you've got ponds, you've got small lakes where craws are one of their main, if not the main forage for them a lot of times. So anytime you got those rocky fishing jetties is going to a Ned rig, but a bigger plastic. They're willing to eat, they're feeding up. Now is the time to kind of take your finesse techniques and go to like a power finesse. So if you'd normally be throwing like that little 2.5 inch, 3 inch, just a regular Ned rig, go up to the bigger one, the X Zone Nico Ned rig for me last year, crushed it. And the year before that too, throwing just the bigger TRD. They're hungry, they want to eat. You don't have to be as afraid of, or I shouldn't say afraid, or that finesse mindset, right? Tiny stuff. As it gets later in the fall, kind of that early winter where water temps really drop and you've got to kind of slow down and really get finesse on them. That's when I'll, drop back to that smaller stuff. But right now when feeding's going on and it's like fall prime time and you're like, well, I don't have a lake where they're chasing shad. I don't even have shad in my lake, right? If you've got a place where they're eating craws, I would say throw a bigger Ned rig. Give it a try. Let's see. I am way behind in comments. What's that?
I said nothing wrong with a Ned rig.
Oh, I love a Ned rig.
I love a Ned rig on a BFS setup. Oh God, so much fun.
Oh, I've
much fun.
The BFS game.
You haven't gotten into it yet?
No, I've got one combo. I didn't bring it with me last weekend, but I have a little 1/8 ounce popper that I got in one of the lure net bank and creek bags. Little 1/8 ounce popper on my BFS setup, and it was actually really fun to throw. I was throwing it.
It is so fun. I mean, if you catch a 1 pound fish, it feels like a monster. It's a blast.
I'm surprised I don't do more ultralight and stuff with the number of dinks I catch. Like I can justify and be like, oh, I'm doing it on ultralights. They all feel big and like, it doesn't matter.
Well, I like the BFS because then you don't have to worry about like dealing with a spinning rod, so you can still be using a bait caster and doing all the ultralight. It's a blast. I love it.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. Yeah, for people that just hate, for me, I would rather, and Spaz, holy crap, Spaz 427 with the $50 bomb and the cute doggo. Is he eating a Reese's Pieces? Is that a Twix? What the hell's he got there? He's stealing candy bars.
It's a 12 pack of something.
If you've got a question or a comment or anything, please feel free to drop that in here. That was too freaking nice of you, dude. I appreciate that a bunch on the $50 bomb. Very, very nice of you. Again, I appreciate all the folks who watch and donate and members, and I wouldn't be here without you guys and gals. Tackle Junkie, speaking of a handsome fella, there he is. That's a good one, Dizzle. I don't know what he was talking about, but agreed with Dizzle on something.
Yeah, the jackal soft.
Oh. Lost and Tackle, take less out with you on the water. 2 years on my yak and still trying to lose things. Yeah, you can definitely, when the feed bag's on in the fall, like you don't even really need to go super finessey. Like usually they're going to be chasing. There's a really, really good chance they're going to be chasing stuff. So a few power anglers out there, especially bank anglers, good chance they're going to be up shallower too for you to get to them. They're not out in those deeper summer haunts and stuff.
What did we say with that? With our challenge last weekend, how amazing was it that we just had like I know I said it to you. I was like, man, I only have such a light bag, no combo or 3 combo. That was amazing. I definitely agree with that comment 100%.
There was the head that Mike was talking about, Raid head swimmer
libero. Yeah, Raid is a JDM brand, so they're imported from Japan, and then the name of the bait is head swimmer libero.
When I hear Raid, I think of the cockroach kill.
Yeah, the ant spray. And all that stuff.
Raid. But yeah, I'm a nerd like that. Ralph in the house, second lake in Southern California with nothing. Oh, bummer. That does happen, Ralph. Keep swinging.
Are you near San Diego? I thought San Diego is supposed to have like some of the biggest bass in the entire state of California.
San Diego Supercharger.
David said, stupid question. What the fizzle is a BFS? Stands for Bait Finesse System. So it's essentially a bait caster with a really shallow light spool meant to have light line on it. I spooled mine up, I think, with 5 pound, 4 pound, something like that. Light line meant to throw small, lighter lures. Some guys get crazy over it. I was throwing a 1/8, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty fun. But some guys are down to like 1/30th, 1/50th. Hell, I don't know how crazy guys get, but little tiny,
Yeah.
jigs and stuff.
Eighth is about as small as I go. I need to feel some weight out there.
Yeah, so it's just a way of, if you've got a spinning rod, like a Finesse spinning rod setup, it's the same thing, but it's just for folks that either like the challenge or don't really like spinning tackle at all. You can go with that. So it's broke out in the last few years, man. I can't believe how much steam it's picked up. When it first come out, I was like, oh, this is funny that like this is a thing. It's picked up steam, man. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but it's definitely taken the industry. You've seen a lot of stuff this year at ICAST of more of the BFS rods, and like there used to be not very many options at all, but more of the rods and bait casters and stuff. Companies bringing out their own. Patrick nailed it there. Spaz, just for Dizzle to giddy up on his vidjas. Spaz, hey,
Well, that's
he
a
needs
better
that.
picture of it. What is that? A lucky?
Is it Lucky Strikes?
No.
Oh, it's Lucky Stripe. Just
good.
12 can pack of Lucky Stripe. Man, talk about some old school. Are we gonna be bringing out the Colt 45 too? Oof. Let's see. Baby Boom said Optimum or Killer for striper. I was gonna say one that I tried that was more of a. I wouldn't really say it's JDM, but it's one that I know people throw. Gosh, I forget where that is, what lake that is, or what place that is the Rains Rock Vibe shad. There's a fat like Rains Rock Vibe fat, and then a different one. Really good look on it. I threw it a couple years ago. The bigger one as a Finesse buzzbait trailer looked absolutely awesome. It's kind of a weird one because it's more of a. I'll share here. It's more of a like round the other way shape, like an oblong. I don't even know how you would describe it.
Medulla oblongata.
Yeah, little bit crazy out there.
Their
So
bubble
here.
shaker's a good drop shot bait too.
So it's fat, but as you can see, the fat, this isn't up and down. It's like fat sideways. So it's like a larger ovally this way with the tail that kicks out. And I forget the place that people say, if you're not throwing these, you're not catching them. But
It's a
yeah,
paddle
it's a
tail
really cool
turd.
spade. Yeah, some paddle tail nerd can tell us, but
No, paddle tail turd.
oh yeah, kind of. Oh, there you can see. So it's skinny when you look at it this way, but when you flip it over on the top, it's wide, like to the side. So kind of a weird shape to it. But
Okay.
yeah, maybe that's what helps it keep running like straight up because it's keeled out, wider, like an extra wide John boat or something. I don't know. Really good action on it. They tore up pretty easy. They weren't very durable, but when you're catching fish on them, it's, again, that's always the trade-off. You might have a really soft paddle tail that has insane action, especially at low speeds, but usually it's going to be a softer plastic. It's not going to be as durable. So it's a give
Hey,
and take.
speaking of, we got 216 people watching with only 121 likes.
Oh, we got to fix that.
Everybody
Come
should
on,
get
people.
out there and just click that like button. It's free.
It helps
Do
so
it for
much.
Debo.
So I'll tell you what, I will say gently turn off the alarm on the subscribe and like button there, so the like button isn't able to go to work tomorrow. That's one from Mr. Ballin that I got, dude. You got me on the Mr. Ballin.
Dude, what was
at
that, 2
night.
weekends ago?
Yeah, 2 weekends ago, he sent me some woods and
Bigfoot.
forest Bigfoot like crazy stuff to listen to on the way home. Completely on listening to Mr. Ballin at night now. Hasn't been as much
Did
cow
it-
hoof trimming. I still
Oh
watch
my,
Nate
it
Cliff
took
Guy.
over the hoof life, huh?
A little bit, dude. A little bit. I listen to Mr. Ballin at night. Some crazy stories. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, me and the old lady have been through the entire Mr. Ballin catalog, both on YouTube and Amazon.
Jeez, you nerds. Is 1/16 considered BFS? It is to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Oh,
throw
yeah.
1/16 on a regular bait caster. Let's see. Okay, what else we got for fall questions? Let's get a giveaway rolling here, and then we will
Yeah.
start talking about some more fall stuff. I'll let you guys find a question in here. If you guys have a question or topic on fall fishing?
Well, I mean,
Out here.
just in general, I mean, I guess what's your go-to? Would you be considered more of a spring, summer, fall, winter? What's your favorite time of the year to fish there, Mike?
Me, right now, literally right now, summer into fall, because they're doing all the chasing. So, there's nothing like a swim bait bite as far as I'm concerned. Like when we're out there throwing the whip wads or the easy shiners, or we're throwing the big, the epic prey bait is a big one that we throw as well. That does well, because when they're chasing bait, they're out to kill. They're eating. So when they swipe at those baits, it's just it's a vicious boom attack. And so that's nothing funner than slow reeling something in, and then all of a sudden you just feel something pull the rod out of your hand, and you're just like, oh, here we go, come on. And so now's the time. And it's funny because for me it's like my favorite time, and then followed by the worst time, because when the water gets cold and it's down in the 60s and 50s, it's just like they just shut down. And it's just like, oh, now you're out there in gloves and everything, and
that's
trying
like
not to freeze to death, trying to a jig bite or something.
I'm sorry, you said
that's when
down in
it's
the
getting good here
60s?
for us. Yeah, 60s and 50s. Yeah, that's prime fall fishing here.
Meanwhile,
Water
Debo
temps?
and I are
Or-
Yeah,
dragging
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
Debo and I are
that's
dragging
cool.
our tents out onto the frozen ice at negative 14.
Yeah, that's cute that 60 is cold for you out there, you California guys.
Well, cold for the water. I mean, the water temp. I mean, they shut
No, I know
down.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, the different, when you look at the United States and the different seasons, like I was talking about, February, you've got guys down south in Texas, southern Texas, catching bedfish. It's like, it's crazy to think that I'm up here on frozen ice trying to catch fish with a stupid fish finder.
Oh,
Fishing,
Debo, I was watching some video played next the other day when I was watching some YouTube videos, and the dude was like out in Alaska surviving and blah blah blah, doing whatever, and he had one of those little scooter dog things, whatever you called it.
a snow dog. I
Yeah,
want one.
he had one of those.
Okay, we got some good questions rolling in here, scattered amongst the hashtag fall.
Yeah.
So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, we got some fun kind of custom colors and stuff. I got some 6 cents cranks and stuff. I'll go over it real quick here just to see if anybody wants to know before hashtag fall to be entered. So we've got I kind of tried to fall theme it. A lipless here, the Snatch 70 from 6 cents. I've got one of their flat sides, black and chartreuse, 6 cents.
Hey, while you're doing that, Mr. Higgs says,
6 cents.
how would you guys approach a natural grass lake in the northern Midwest that has just started reaching 60 degrees at night for only a week, 4 to 8 feet visibility with massive grass flats, but the deepest depths are 90 feet?
90 feet? Is this a reservoir?
It's got to be. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, that would be like
90
spinnerbait, lipless, or like a jerkbait right around those grass flats.
Well, yeah. How deep are those grass flats? I was going to say if you can skim the top of the grass flats, yeah, I think swim jig or even a chatterbait. If you can kind of tip the top of those that grass out there with a little half-ounce jackhammer, it's money.
Yeah, and the thing about grass, I would have to know more about it, like how clear it is, where are the fish stacking? Are they on the edges of it? Are they above it?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with fall is all that grass isn't going to hold them. I would say once you figure out kind of the pattern within a pattern, if you find that they're on one sort of vegetation and not everything else, focus on that stuff, because you get like the real pencily stuff versus the coontail stuff that's so thick that you can't even F with it. It's just like it's a mat. Like you literally can't even get into it. Versus like pads versus like the kind of fingery stuff. I don't even know what you would call it, but oftentimes you'll find them completely on one, and I would guess some of that stuff starts to die out. Shan or the water aquatic vegetation people would know better. I'm guessing some of that stuff starts to die out, and some of it lasts longer into those cool temperatures.
Yeah.
So
You're absolutely right. I mean, the fish are only going to be in the grass as long as the grass is green, right? I mean, they're there for the oxygen. So the moment that grass starts to die
and
off,
bait fish.
yeah.
I mean, the bait fish are there because the good green grass holds the the plankton, the little tiny microorganisms and stuff. They're there in that good green, stuff, not the old dead rotten brown crap. So. Okay, Patrick, real quick here. So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, #fall. I just showed you what was in there. And Mike is going to send us some baits to check out, so I will throw some of those in as well.
Yeah, I'll throw. Since we're talking about slick swims, I'll do a couple bags of slick swim. So I'll throw some. I'll do some color matches. I know you said you want me to throw some motor oil in there. Those are fantastic colors. So,
he's got. Tell us about that. He opened the can on me earlier, and I'm like, oh, dude. You gotta hook me up with a couple of those.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get you taken care of. Oh yeah. No, I'm luckily, I'm partnered with MF Manufacturing. They do plastisol and colors, and so very fortunate to be able to get my hands on some colors that just can't be made anymore. So I was teasing Debo with the original, the OG motor oil, that has that beautiful red root beer to green color change. It's such an awesome color.
I think it's rut beer.
You had me at root beer. Root beer. Okay, Patrick. So while we're waiting here, we've already got 120 entries. That's what I was going to say. We got to get to 120 before I pull it. We'll answer this question, then I'll click the giveaway. But Patrick, good question. And Patrick, I think, just got the new Curado M. We've been talking back and forth about some stuff on that, so he was excited to throw that. But favorite swim jig brands, weights, and colors. Man, there's a bunch of good ones out there. Somebody asked us this a couple weeks ago.
I'm going because nobody else can get them unless they're in this area. There's a local bait shop here in Iowa that some guy makes their own there, and those are amazing. But if it's going to the store and buying one, I'd go with the 6 Sense.
The Axis one?
Good one. It's the one with the screw lock bait keeper on it.
Okay.
That's the 6 Sense. The Axle's the one that has the pivot head, right? It's the 6 Sense. God, why can't I not think of it? Somebody in the chat will tell us. What's the 6 Sense swim jig? Divine? Is it 6 Sense Divine?
Is it the Divine?
Something
that was
jig?
the soft plastic.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Hell, I don't know.
I know what you're talking about, though. That's a screw lock, and then the hook kind of swings a little bit, right?
No, that's the Axis one.
Oh, okay.
That's not the one he's talking about. He was just talking about the regular, I think.
Oh, okay. My bad.
How about you? Do you fish a swim jig much?
I do. So my favorite is the California swim jig by Dirty Jigs, because we have a lot of grass around the Delta. So like I said, just similar to a whip wad, I just throw it right up in the middle and just yank it through the grass. That's actually what we were doing today. We were in a slough that's very heavily overloaded, and all the fish were up in the grass. They were just all up in it because that's where all the bait fish and the bluegill and everything are at right now. It's all green. But I tell you, and I haven't fished him yet though, but I'm actually, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but I'm color matching some baits for Tackle Junkie, and he had me pick up a couple Picasso swim jigs, so I'm matching some of the skirts, and those look really nice. So I'm actually excited to go swim. I haven't fished them yet, but I'm excited to fish some of the Picasso ones. Those look really intriguing. So very well.
It is the Divine Debo.
Okay. Yeah, they've got, Jim actually turned me onto them. I didn't really throw any Picasso stuff before him. They have a nice chatterbait too, actually. One that has like the wires, that protects the hook, kind of like the Z-Man Cross Eyes. Just got to remember to bend those wires after you catch a fish, bend those wires back in place so they're there. But yeah, I would say, gosh, Dirty Jig. Oh, I was going to ask you, so you're throwing that on braid, right? That big California.
Yeah, braid? Yeah. Well, I braid the leader, but it's on like a 14-pound, leader, so I can just yank it, yank it through the grass. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, I would say, I used to throw the Strike Kings a lot. Definitely more of a finesse swim jig, lighter wire hook. And you have to look at that. Like, not all swim jigs are the same when you get into the hook category. So that was a perfect example, like Mike bringing that up. Some of the California or heavy or Magnum type of swim jigs are going to have a lot thicker gauge hook that you can't throw on a, like a medium bait caster or a medium.
No, you need a heavy setup. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a medium power casting combo. You're just not going to get the hook penetration. So I would say, look at that. But God, yeah, I would say Dirty Jigs. Now I've been making my own stuff through Do It. Now that's what I've been throwing recently, but Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. Dirty Jigs, 6 Cents.
Someone mentioned Beast Coast, and I've thrown their stuff before.
Oh.
Beast Coast has good stuff.
Yep,
and
they make really good.
I'll throw out Battle Baits as well. He's more of a smaller
Oh,
bait maker,
yep.
but he's all over Instagram, and he makes really good jigs. I've fished them.
Yes.
They're good. Yeah.
Yes. Also, really good looking spinnerbaits. Actually, it's very similar to. Help me, Tom Cruise. Actually, this might actually be a battle bait spinnerbait right here.
Oh, that looks like a battle. The head looks very,
Yeah, with his purple and chartreuse, I think that I kept back. But yeah, I ordered some stuff from him and did a giveaway. Yeah, super nice dude. Another guy that's working his tail off because he's the one that had. If you guys watched the Burley unboxing, he has the Ned rigs, and I forget what he calls them, but it's a Ned rig with a line tie on top and bottom.
Yeah, it's like a drop shot Ned
strap Ned. Yeah, so it's like where you would normally put your drop shot hook. You can tie a Ned rig head there, and it's a super light Ned rig head, obviously, for it to work, but it's like 1/40th or something. I don't know. Yeah. Super light, but just a tiny jig head, and it's like a little skirted thing. So you can kind of like drop shot a little jig, which is really cool. Yeah, he's got a bunch of neat stuff out there too.
I got turned on to him because I mentioned the Okashira screw head earlier in the show, but he has some propeller heads that he makes as well. He sold out now, but that's how I first found him. I was like, oh, here's a second option to the screw head, and so I found his little propeller heads.
Okay, let's see. Let's pull a giveaway winner here. Then we'll take a few more questions.
Only 136 entries. Goodness gracious.
4 more. Let's top it off.
Isn't there 200 people in chat? Something like that.
Let's get to 140.
More than. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Can we do a whole screen without taking a drink? Well, how about this? Gander Mountain.
Talking.
Yeah. Gander Mountain.
Gander Mountain.
Coogan.
Is that
stand up, Debo?
Yeah. Let me stand up and go get something. Okay, I saved a couple questions here, so we got to get to 140. Two more y'all enter in here. Fat Guy Bassin, good question here. What 4 baits would you always have on you from now through fall? I think we kind of covered them. I would say Ned rig as my finesse when the days are kind of tough. The larger Ned rig. Spinnerbait. I'm going to go, it's tough. I'm going to go jerk bait.
And a thermal printer.
And walking bait, topwater walking bait. I would say those 4 I can catch pretty much fish anywhere around here all the way through fall with just those. And we hit 140. So I'm gonna draw while you guys are thinking.
Sweet. Yeah, for me I'd say it's the swim bait like we talked about, whether it's a whip wad or like an easy shiner. Hard jerk bait. And if I have to choose one, it's the
It's Gone Fishing with Ed. He's going to be a guest. Is that next week?
Sweet.
Gone Fishing with Ed.
He's our guest next week.
Oh, awesome.
All right. Well, Ed, I'm assuming you're still in here, dude. Congrats.
Sorry, Mike. What were your?
So swim bait, jerk bait, and my jerk bait's going to be the Edovision 110, the +1 Junior. There's just something special about that catches fish for me. It's the small and it goes deep. And then I would say a soft, like a fluke. I was going to say soft jerk bait, but like fluke for me as well. So I don't know if you want to
weightless fluke or?
Yeah, weightless. Yeah, just throw it out there on a 4/0 or a 5/0 EWG hook and just, jerk it in. And then, I'm with this little topwater, just an all-around topwater rod for the rest of fall. Yeah.
Did you say topwater frog for the rest of fall?
No, just all-around topwater for the rest of fall.
I thought you said that's what you were doing. I'm like, oh, I'm jealous.
No, and I've been going around, I've been having a lot of luck on wake baits lately, like little mini, the ones that ride like right below the surface, like 2 inches below. Those have been doing good for me. Whopper ploppers, the Teckle chop kicker's done really well for me this year on the Delta. That's another one. It's another like whopper plopper knockoff by Teckle. I shouldn't say knockoff. They're different, but one was inspired by the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rob here, good one. So Ed, I think I already have your information, but if you want to, just hit me up on Instagram. Congrats, my friend. I'll throw in something special too. Ed went out of his way to make. I don't know if y'all saw the video yet. Did I put that one out? I'm having a brain fart here. Maybe I didn't even put that out yet. But Ed was nice enough to. He got into making baits and stuff when I did my unboxing. I showed some of that, but I put his fluid cup or fluid bed to work. Ed made some of his own fluid beds. Sent me one. So when you do your powder paint, normally you have to keep it like really stirred up and stuff. When you have a fluid bed, you're adding air to it from the bottom, and it literally looks like a cup of water. So that's what they call it, a fluid bed. Like it takes all that hard powder and makes it so it looks like water in there bubbling. It's absolutely awesome.
Don't pump it full of too much air, otherwise it'll explode all over
shooting
your
stuff. yeah, that would be bad. Luckily, this one was not super primed, but yeah, he threw in the aerator, everything for me. So
awesome.
Yeah, Ed.
Yeah, that was like what, 3 weeks ago. You put up a video with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I did the one where I'm actually using it
one after,
because I did a video of me making some swimbait heads and stuff. I don't think that one came out.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
No, okay. Yeah, Brian Schmidt Custom Baits makes some amazing stuff too. There's so many good jig people out there. Watch Kudo over at Jig Squad. He's had a ton of, Pig Jigs. Absolutely, Pig Jigs makes a bunch of good stuff. There's Bass with Big Malone, who was in here last week. Super good cat.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, so yeah, question. Could you get up and show us where your favorite shipping device is to ship out gear from an old company you cleared out when they closed? We're thirsty. So he's talking about the thermal printer that I've used to ship out some of the Gander Mountain giveaways. That's a couple drinks for you all. Maybe I'll get up here in a little bit. I don't want to get you all crunk too easy here. Let's see. There was another couple other good questions I had starred. So I didn't star them. Fat Guy Bassin. Ed said, I never win anything. Woohoo, thanks. Yes, I will throw in a special one for you today, Ed, because I'll talk to you next week and we'll see. But I just got back to painting some lures. Did a couple fun ones today. Who's the guy that makes the props but sold out now? Oh, was that Battle Baits or Battle? Is that right?
Oh, Battle Baits. Yes.
Yeah. Was that the one you were talking about? Or maybe they were talking about something.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay. What do we got for other questions? Let's each grab a question. Then we're going to get out of here. We're at an hour and a half. Okay. Ooh, actually, here's a fun one. I'm picking this one as mine. You guys find a question here. So if y'all guys and gals have a question you're dying for us to talk about, let us know.
Mike M wants to know if Fudge Stripe is still around. He keeps saying there's going to be a video coming out, but he never do.
It'll have to be a catch and cook video.
That's it. He's deceased?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's going strong. He's got a 55-gallon now. He's a beast. I was actually just looking the other day. There's a place that does.
It's all fake news.
No, he's good.
Never happened.
A place that has 3D like backgrounds. You glue them, silicone them into your aquarium, but they have like a real thin one. I was gonna make like a cave for him because now I've got like a flower pot in there because he likes to be tucked in and like ambush and come out. So I was gonna make like a big square one for him. But yeah, he's doing great. So okay, here I'll tell you all. I had a couple people ask me if you watched the video of me and Brando out a couple videos ago. People are like, why is there a big log back there in the boat by you, Debo? So we were going around for I don't know how long with a big branch stuck in his propeller off of something, and it was pulling the grass. So I pulled this big branch out of the water and kept it, and I'm going to disinfect it and leave it out in the sun. He's going to have a big piece of driftwood because it's a sick piece of driftwood. So I'm going to have to do that in there too. That'll probably be a members only video. That'll be a fun one.
Was it drifting when you got the piece of wood, or was it?
Well, it was stuck in his motor and back. So it was drifting with us. It was a sign.
So it's more snagged wood than anything, I think.
Yes. Snagged wood that I'm going to get in there. I just have to figure out a way to like disinfect it all. I think I'm going to have to cut it up because I don't want any of the other stuff.
Mend it.
I could just completely coat it in, mend it, seal it in there, and wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah, so that's a good one. Explore more fishing. Anyone continue to throw Cincos in the fall? So a number of years back, I was arguing with one of my other fishing buddies about, do Cincos still catch fish? Yes or no? And in that video, funny enough, I was throwing a Beast Coast Miyagi and another little swim bait. I don't remember what it was. I actually caught more fish on a Cinco, and it was cold out. I'm talking like 50-degree, 55-degree water temp. Cold. I said that Cincos won't still catch fish. He said, you're an idiot. They still catch fish. I caught more fish on the Cincos, probably like 10 within the day. I think I only caught 3 or 4 on the swim baits, but one of which happened to be my personal best 7-pounder on a Beast Coast Miyagi.
Ooh, awesome.
So yeah, do they catch fish? Absolutely. I was pretty blown away that day too, just throwing the stick bait around, because yeah, I put it away. I mean, to me that's like a tough summer fishing bait. I would probably even go more to a fluke in the fall when they're chasing bait fish, but yeah, man, Cinco's a magical little. Gary Yamamoto hit an absolute gold mine when he made the old Cinco. Okay,
It's
there's
funny
my
though,
question.
the last year there was a bite for a few months on the Delta where all they would eat was Senkos. That was it. And this year I can't buy a bite on a Senko. I mean, I've tried, I've thrown it. I just can't. I can't get. But they're not eating.
I won't give away the secret on here. Somebody was messaging me. Actually, it's out your area, and they said that if you're not throwing this, you're missing out really, really bad. So I'll talk to you about that off stream.
All right, yeah.
And see if you can get a change in it before we unveil the secret.
Okay. I'll pick a question. South Jersey Bait Reviews was asking, has Bait Chuckin' thrown any really big baits like above 4 ounces for bass?
That was the one I was just gonna grab.
Oh, was it? Oh, there. So yes, I've thrown it, but I haven't caught anything. I have a Tactical Wake 275. I think that's the biggest bait that I have.
That farmer's tan.
Hey, it's better than my raccoon tan. The later it gets, the more redder my cheeks get, and I just look like.
You just look like a regular fisherman. Fishermen know what's up.
So I have thrown it. Haven't caught anything on it yet, though. But it's fun to throw. It almost feels like gambling in a way. I feel like I'm just gonna throw this big bait and crank down on the big reel. Just hope I catch something because I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's fun to throw this big ass bait.
And hope I don't get snagged and lose $100 Swimbait that I love.
Well, at least it floats. So luckily, if it does break, this one floats. But yeah, some of the people who throw the sinkers, I can't imagine breaking off like some $200 custom lure or, yeah.
Fudge stripe as live bait. Fudge stripe as live bait, and then I don't catch anything, so it turns into a catch and cook of my pet green sunfish. I could never do that to him.
By that time, he's going to be big.
Dude, he's a monster. Like I would say
nobody would know because nobody has seen him in months.
Yeah. I need to take him out and measure him because, I got him when he was like 2.5, 3 inches long. Yeah, let's see in Debo fingers. Yeah, probably about 3 inches long, size of my finger.
1 Debo finger long.
Dizzle win. Pitter patter? Yeah, when are you putting that video out?
So I got a question, Mike, specifically for you.
Okay.
Biscuits and gravy?
Absolutely. I love biscuits and gravy.
That's that should almost be a biscuits and gravy should be a drink statement or question because it seems to come up every single time. But
Who
realistically,
like biscuits and gravy?
You'd be surprised. There's some weirdos that are around.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say not like it. I was surprised by how much of it's like a Midwest Southern thing, like North. Yeah. I feel like no,
but realistically, what's your kind of go-to, Mike? What's your go-to like breakfast on the way to the lake if you're getting up early and going, and or like a boat snack, things like that?
Oh, well, I'm almost ashamed to admit it, but my buddy and I hit Starbucks pretty much every day on the way out. So I'm grabbing like a bacon Gouda and some kind of a coffee to get me going in the morning. That's like my go-to breakfast. But
I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
Anything specific that you do or don't allow on your boat, as far as people talk about the bananas and what have you, is all that crazy stuff. Oh. Anything you don't allow on?
No, I'm a relatively new boat owner, so I don't know of any of the old wives' tales of what should and shouldn't be on the boat and things like that. So I mean, it's still pretty much anything goes at this point. But yeah, I didn't know you're not supposed to bring bananas on a boat. Is that a bad?
Apparently, I don't know what it's all about, Debo. You might be able to.
So it's a superstition. I don't know where it came from. I don't believe in any of that baloney. Unless Mr. Ballin tells me it's a thing and you go missing after having a banana on your boat, then I totally believe it.
Yeah, don't go into a state park.
Eric's eaten a couple bananas on our boat and we haven't run into any issues. So I might have to tell him to stop bringing bananas on the boat.
How about the Yamatanuki? Have you thrown that or any of the poop baits? I've got a few of the poop baits I want to try.
I have not thrown those, but those are kicking butt out here right now. The Yamatanuki's doing really good.
Yeah, Mike M.
How the
that was
hell
his
is that
guess
an
for
actual thing?
The cover
Like-
scat, yeah.
Somebody
I'm gonna
did a
make a
video. Oh,
race
Tactical
car
Bassin.
lure.
I was actually talking with somebody on the poop baits. Tactical Bassin did an underwater video of the poop baits. It was actually really neat. Those guys put a lot of, as much as people might want to say, oh, they're just too big now, blah, blah. Dude, those guys worked their ass off. And that video was really neat. Look at the Yamatanuki, especially because that one intrigued me watching it underwater. If you guys haven't seen it, and I'll show you real quick.
My thought, I'll just throw out my theory as to
Go
why
for it. Absolutely,
I think
dude.
those work, because before these started getting popular, because I was making baits for someone else, and they sent me a picture of a crawdad. They're like, hey, can you match this color? This was a fish at Clear Lake, and they coughed up, a crawdad. So like the fish spit this up. When the fish spit up the crawdad was like all together, like real tight with like its claws
Did it have
and
the
everything.
pincers on it still?
Yeah, it still had the pincers on it. It was all like tight like this in a straight line. And I swear to God, I looked at that and I was like, that's what the poop bait's got to be mimicking. They got to be mimicking this. It looked like a craw, and then even it looks like if you were to pull the pinchers off of a crawdad, it looks like a crawdad body without pinchers. And I don't know. This is just my guess, but I saw that picture and I was like, that looks just like the depths cover scat, but it was a craw that a fish spit up. And I was like, well, okay, that's got to be the shape
what
they're
some
going
people
after.
say.
I don't know.
Yeah, some people say that exactly, that it looks like a craw body falling through. I mean, to me, it's kind of the spinoff of a Senko, right? It's some of them or most of them, like this one, for example, I think it's like how heavy? It's a heavier bait, so it's like 5/8 of an ounce for the bigger one, 3.5 inch.
And they sink quick.
Right. So it's like it gives you a little bit different look of a stick bait that falls faster. So you can almost power fish it more. And you can put a heavier hook on it. Like this one says 5/0, so you can throw it in around heavier stuff. It's not as much of that, tiny, 4-inch, stick bait deal that I'm sure everybody in their great Aunt Bertha are throwing on a wacky rig, a little bit different look. And this one intrigued me, by the way. Like some of them kind of glided. This one had a kind of a cool look with that little tail. So I'll just say, people go watch it. Go watch Tactical Bassin's video on all the different poop baits underwater and see if you notice any differences in them. I said, at iCast, I wanted to try. Chris Russ sent us, me and Dizzle, some of the depths cover scats. I had those rigged up, was going to fish them when me and Dizzle went out, but I didn't have a combo for it. But wanted to try that one more. I actually bought a pack a long time ago for us to try, but the missile baits one, and I know people were all upset because they felt like it was a copy, but John Cruz even says like, hey, I made this for a specific version because the others were too heavy and I wanted this to do something a little different. So yeah, anyway, I'll say go check them out. I'm becoming more of a believer on it than I was before, but specifically this Yamatanuki, when you watch that one underwater, see if you notice anything about it with that shape. That's all I'll leave it at. All right. Well, Mike, listen, Bait Chunkin', thank you so much for joining us tonight. You were an awesome guest with probably one of the best top 3 backgrounds there of
cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
neat looking professionalism back there. I feel like I'm in some blown out shelter here.
Oh,
with disaster
stop it.
behind me and
Stop it.
jeez. But okay, for everybody that maybe that didn't see or hear at the beginning, where can we find you?
So I'm at Baitchuckin' here on YouTube. So my channel is just youtube.com/@Baitchuckin', and same on Instagram, Baitchuckin'. Those are the 2 platforms I'm on the most, Tube and Instagram.
I'm just going through here, making sure we didn't have any other questions. People talking about biscuits or gravy. I feel like we always end the lives with talking about breakfast for some reason.
I mean, that's how it goes.
I want to
Yeah,
try that new
do
trend
too.
I'm seeing all over Instagram and TikTok, the bacon pancakes. Have you seen these?
Mm-mm.
Is that where you put a slice of bacon in the middle
Yeah,
of it?
they're taking a slice of bacon, dipping it in pancake batter, and then throwing it. I'm ready to throw some of those on the griddle.
I've only seen where you dump the batter into the pan and then you put like bacon in there. I mean, I've done that, but
Oh,
like
no,
with
you like-
sausage patties.
I guess you take a strip of bacon, dip it in the pancake batter, almost like you're, going to deep fry something, and you throw it on the griddle. So like you're cooking the pancake with the strip of bacon in the middle of it, and
Okay.
it looks good. It looks tasty.
Gramps in
Not
here. I'm not going to share your comment, Gramps, but Gramps is in the house. He's down at Gunnerville picking up his new kayak. I saw that on Instagrams. Scouting for places to fish the KBF Challenge Series Championship next month. Damn, have fun down there, dude.
Lost and Tackle, Thermal Printer, Gander Mountain, DEBO'S
Chris-
Stands Up.
Chris with an absolute dagger. So here's the deal. I don't religiously follow people like in the fishing community and like watch every video. I don't have time. Like things here and there I do, like I'll see a tackle junkie one come up, or Rudd, or like a random tackle tactical bass like that somebody sends me specifically, like this one. Yeah, absolutely, I'll watch it. I'll tell you what though, Die Hard at Night, hoof trimming used to be shoe shining to hoof trimming to now Mr. Ballin. I do watch YouTube at night, and I don't really watch as much, just like have the sound on in the background to go to
It's
sleep.
a good listen in,
Yeah.
like video or podcast. I mean, because he's got both, but either way, yeah.
Man, here's one, Lure Lab. Scrounge your head on a gilly is like a silent finesse chatter. Dude, I have not been able to get anything on the gillies. They looked so good too. I thought they really would, but
I'm with you. I haven't gotten much. I got a whole stack of them there on my bait wall, and 5-6 packages. Haven't caught a thing on them.
that's too
Berkeley
bad,
gillies,
'cause
right? Are we talking about the Berkeley
Yeah.
gilly? Yeah.
I assume that's what he's talking about. Maybe something different. I assumed it was the Berkeley. Big Malone says Minners. Yep. Hashtag Minners. All right. Well, looks like we are coming to the end of it. Listen, everyone, I want to thank Mike for hopping on, Dizzle, as
Thanks for
our
having me.
co-pilot here, as always. I appreciate you, man. Everybody else, guys and gals watching, love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll be back again next Saturday night, and it will be our winner from tonight, Gone Fishing with Ed. He's actually our guest next week. So
Sweet.
love y'all. Have a good Sunday. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next Saturday.